The broken bond. Kira's hands trembled as she ground the healing herbs in the stone mortar. The repetitive motion usually calmed her. But today nothing could settle the nervous energy coursing through her veins. The entire Crescent Moon Pack was preparing for the arrival of King Aldrich, the Lycan King who ruled over all the packs in the Northern Territories. Even in her small position as the healer's assistant, Kira had been tasked with preparing medicine stocks in case any of the royal guards needed treatment. "Stop shaking, girl," old Mara, the head healer, scolded gently. "The king won't even notice someone like you. Keep your head down and do your work." Kira nodded, trying to ignore the strange pulling sensation in her chest that had started that morning. She was nobody special, the daughter of deceased warriors with no particular rank or power. Her wolf was small and unremarkable. She had long ago accepted that she would live a quiet life in service to her pack, perhaps eventually mating with another low-ranking wolf and raising children who would have the same humble existence. The horns sounded at the pack borders, announcing the king's arrival. Kira's heart began to race for reasons she couldn't explain. The pulling sensation grew stronger, almost painful, as if something inside her was trying to claw its way out. "Go help set up the medical tent near the ceremony grounds," Mara instructed. "Take the emergency supplies in case anyone is injured during the demonstrations." Kira gathered the bags of herbs and bandages, making her way through the crowded pack grounds. Wolves of all ranks were assembled, dressed in their finest clothes. The ceremony grounds had been decorated with banners and flowers. Alpha Cornelius, her pack leader, stood at the center with his beta and the high-ranking families. Then she saw him. King Aldrich stepped into the grounds, and Kira's entire world tilted on its axis. He was magnificent, tall and powerfully built, with dark hair that fell just past his collar and eyes the color of amber. He moved with the natural authority of someone born to rule, his presence commanding attention from every wolf present. But it wasn't his appearance that made Kira drop the bags she was carrying. It was the mate bond that slammed into her with the force of a physical blow. "Mine," her wolf howled in her mind. "Mate, king, ours."
Kira gasped, stumbling backward.
This couldn't be happening. The Lycan King couldn't possibly be her mate. It was impossible. It was... Aldrich's head snapped in her direction. His amber eyes locked onto hers across the distance, and she watched his entire body go rigid. He felt it too. The bond was undeniable, pulling them together like two halves of a whole. For one perfect, shining moment, Kira felt hope bloom in her chest. Despite their different ranks, despite everything that should make them impossible, the moon goddess had chosen them for each other. The mate bond didn't lie. It didn't care about status or power. It simply was. Aldrich began walking toward her, his eyes never leaving hers. The crowd parted automatically, confusion rippling through the assembled wolves. Why was the king approaching a nobody? "You," Aldrich said, his voice deep and commanding. "What is your name?" "Kira, your majesty," she whispered, her voice barely audible.
Kira Zorne.
"Kira?" he repeated, and the way he said her name made her wolf purr with pleasure. He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his scent. Pine and winter storms and something uniquely him. "Do you feel it?" "Yes," she breathed. "The mate bond." A murmur went through the crowd. The king had found his mate. This should have been a moment of celebration, of joy. Kira saw Alpha Cornelius's eyes widen with shock and then something that might have been calculation. Having one of his pack members become queen would elevate his pack's status significantly. But then Kira saw something else in Aldrich's eyes. Something that made her blood run cold. Conflict, disgust, rejection. "What is your rank?" Aldrich asked, his voice suddenly formal and cold. I have no rank, your majesty. My parents were warriors who died in service. I work as a healer's assistant. Your bloodline, common, your majesty. No alpha blood, no special heritage." The words felt like ash in her mouth. She watched something shift in Aldrich's expression, watched him close himself off to the bond they both felt. Around them, The higher-ranking wolves began whispering, and Kira could hear every cruel word. The king's mate is nobody. How embarrassing for him. Surely he won't accept such a weak bond. Aldrich's jaw clenched. He looked at her for a long moment, and Kira could feel his wolf fighting against what he was about to do. But then his face became a mask of royal indifference. The moon goddess has made an error, Aldrich announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. I am the Lycan King. I cannot be bound to someone of inferior bloodline. My mate must be strong, of noble birth, capable of standing beside me as queen. You are none of these things. Each word was a dagger to her heart. Kira felt her wolf howling in agony, felt the mate bond stretching and tearing. I, Aldrich Blackthorn, king of all Lycans, reject you, Kira Thorn, as my mate. The rejection hit her like a physical force. Kira collapsed to her knees, pain radiating through every cell of her body as the mate bond was severed. It felt like dying, like having her soul ripped in half. Her wolf retreated deep inside her, whimpering and broken. Through the haze of agony, she heard the gasps and whispers of the crowd. She heard Alpha Cornelius trying to salvage the situation, offering apologies to the king for wasting his time. She heard the pity and contempt in the voices around her. But most of all, she heard the silence from Aldrich as he turned and walked away. 5 years of silence. Kira stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror of her apartment, barely recognizing the woman looking back at her. 5 years had passed since that terrible day, and she had transformed herself completely. Her hair, once long and wild, was now cut in a professional style. Her clothes were sophisticated human fashion rather than pack casual wear. Her eyes, once soft and hopeful, now held a guarded hardness. She had left the Crescent Moon Pack the day after the rejection. There was nothing for her there except pity and humiliation. She had suppressed her wolf, pushed her so deep that she rarely shifted anymore, and built a new life among humans. Medical school had been difficult but rewarding. Humans asked nothing about bloodlines or ranks. They cared only about competence and skill. Kira had thrown herself into her studies with desperate intensity, channeling all her pain and rage into becoming the best doctor she could be. Now, Dr. Kira Thorne worked at St. Michael's Hospital in the human city of Millbrook, 300 miles from any Lycan territory. She specialized in infectious diseases and had built a reputation as a brilliant diagnostician. Her colleagues respected her. Her patients trusted her. And if she sometimes felt hollow inside, if she sometimes woke from dreams of amber eyes and a bond that had been torn away, well, that was her burden to carry. What no one knew, what no one could ever know, was the other reason she had run so far from the Lycan world. Kira placed a hand on her flat stomach, remembering. 2 months after the rejection, she had discovered she was pregnant. It shouldn't have been possible. Rejected mates rarely conceived, and when they did, the pregnancies usually failed. But somehow, in that brief moment when the bond had snapped into place before Aldrich rejected her, life had been created. Twin daughters. Kira had given birth alone in a human hospital, with no pack to support her, no mate to hold her hand. She had named them Luna and Stella, and they were the only lights in her darkness. The girls were 4 years old now, and they were extraordinary. Too extraordinary. They had inherited strength far beyond normal Lycan children. Luna could move objects with her mind, something Kira had never heard of in their kind. Stella could sense emotions and sometimes even influence them. Both girls had eyes that occasionally glowed with an inner light that had nothing to do with normal Lycan abilities. Kira lived in constant fear that someone would notice, would ask questions, would realize that these children were far more than they appeared. She kept them away from other Lycans, homeschooled them, and taught them to hide their gifts. Mommy! Luna's voice called from the living room. Stella's making the plants grow again. Kira sighed and left the bathroom. Sure enough, the potted plants in their apartment had doubled in size, leaves unfurling with impossible speed under Stella's delighted attention. Stella, we talked about this, Kira said gently, kneeling beside her daughter. You have to be careful with your gifts. If people see, they'll ask questions we can't answer. But why, Mommy? Stella's green eyes, so much like Kira's own, filled with confusion. Why do we have to hide? Because the world isn't ready to understand how special you are, Kira said, pulling both girls into a hug. Because there are people who might want to hurt you if they knew what you could do. Is it because of our father? Luna asked quietly. Is he one of the people who would hurt us? Kira's heart clenched. The girls knew they had a father somewhere, but she had never told them who he was or why he wasn't with them. How could she explain that their father had rejected their mother without even knowing they existed? That he was a king who valued bloodlines over bonds, power over love? Your father doesn't know about you, Kira said carefully. And it needs to stay that way. Can you both promise me that? The girls nodded solemnly, but Kira could see the questions in their eyes. Questions that would only grow as they got older. Her phone buzzed with a message from the hospital. Emergency. All doctors report immediately. Mysterious illness spreading. Kira's stomach dropped. For the past 2 weeks, cases of a strange illness had been appearing at hospitals across the city. The symptoms were severe. High fever, weakness, organ failure. But the cause remained unknown. Human doctors were baffled. 3 people had already died. But Kira, with her Lycan senses, had detected something the human doctors couldn't. The illness had a supernatural component. Something or someone was deliberately spreading a disease that targeted both humans and Lycans. Girls, I have to go to the hospital, Kira said, calling the elderly human woman who sometimes watched them. Mrs. Chun will be here soon. Be careful, Mommy, Luna said, her small face serious. I had a bad dream last night, about a man with yellow eyes who wants to hurt people.
Kira froze.
Luna's dreams sometimes showed her things that hadn't happened yet. What else did you see? He's looking for something. Looking for us. Luna grabbed her hand. And he's coming soon. The unwanted reunion. The emergency room was chaos when Kira arrived. 6 new patients with the mysterious illness had been admitted in the past hour, all in critical condition. Kira moved through the organized chaos with practiced efficiency, checking vitals, ordering tests, trying to find some pattern that would explain the outbreak. Dr. Thorne, we have an incoming trauma. A nurse called out. Multiple stab wounds, massive blood loss. ETA 2 minutes. Kira grabbed her trauma kit and headed for the bay doors. The ambulance screamed into the parking lot, and paramedics rushed out with a gurney. The patient was a large man, unconscious and covered in blood. Even before she saw his face, Kira felt it. That familiar pull, that sense of recognition that she had spent 5 years trying to forget. No, not him. Not here. Not now. But as the paramedics wheeled the gurney under the lights, there was no denying it. Aldrich Blackthorne, the Lycan King who had rejected her, lay dying on her emergency room table. Doctor, he's crashing, a nurse shouted. Blood pressure dropping, heart rate erratic. Kira's mind went blank with shock, but her body moved on instinct. Years of training kicked in. She didn't have time to process the impossibility of this situation. She had a patient dying in front of her, and despite everything he had done to her, she had taken an oath. Get me 4 units of O-negative blood. She barked orders, her hands already examining his wounds. Someone call for a surgical team. These wounds are too deep for the ER. As she worked, her Lycan senses picked up things the monitors couldn't show. His wounds weren't just physical. There was poison in his system, something specifically designed to kill Lycans. Silver mixed with wolfsbane and something else she couldn't identify. He's not going to make it without intervention, Kira muttered. She made a split-second decision, one that would change everything. She pulled out a syringe and drew her own blood, then injected it directly into his foreline. Lycan blood could heal other Lycans, especially blood from family members. The girl's blood would be even more effective, but Kira would die before she risked exposing her daughters. Her blood would have to be enough. The effect was almost immediate. Some of the poison was neutralized. His heart rate stabilized. The wounds began to close, though not completely. What did you give him? A human doctor asked. His vitals just improved dramatically. Experimental treatment, Kira lied smoothly. I'll document it later. Let's get him to surgery now. For hours later, Kira stood outside the recovery room where Aldrich lay sleeping. She had saved his life, removed the silver-laced blades from his body, flushed as much of the poison from his system as she could. He would live. She should walk away. She should assign him to another doctor and never see him again. She owed him nothing. He had rejected her, humiliated her, destroyed her in front of her entire pack. But her traitorous wolf, silent for so long, stirred inside her. Mate, she whispered. Hurt, need to help. Shut up, Kira whispered back. He's not our mate anymore. He made sure of that. She was about to leave when Aldrich's eyes opened. Those amber eyes that still haunted her dreams locked onto hers, and she watched recognition dawn on his face. But it wasn't the recognition she expected. You, Aldrich whispered, his voice rough from the breathing tube. You're my mate. I can feel the bond. It's you. I've been searching for so long. Kira's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? The bond. Aldrich tried to sit up, wincing in pain. I can feel it pulling me to you. You're my true mate. I've been looking for 5 years, visiting every pack, hoping to find you. And here you are. He didn't remember. Aldrich didn't remember rejecting her. The universe, Kira thought bitterly, had a truly cruel sense of humor. Before she could respond, before she could process this impossible revelation, her phone buzzed with a message that made her blood run cold. It was a video from her apartment security camera. 2 men in dark clothes were trying to break through her door, and she could hear Luna and Stella screaming. No, Kira whispered, already running for the exit. Not my babies. Behind her, she heard Aldrich calling out, confused and concerned. But Kira didn't have time to explain. Someone was attacking her daughters, and she would burn down the world before she let anyone hurt her children. The mother wolf that had been sleeping for 5 years finally woke you. For hours later, Kira stood outside the recovery room where Aldrich lay sleeping. She had saved his life, removed the silver-laced blades from his body, flushed as much of the poison from his system as she could. He would live. She should walk away. She should assign him to another doctor and never see him again. She owed him nothing. He had rejected her, humiliated her, destroyed her in front of her entire pack. But her traitorous wolf, silent for so long, stirred inside her. Mate, she whispered. Hurt, need to help. Shut up, Kira whispered back. He's not our mate anymore. He made sure of that. She was about to leave when Aldrich's eyes opened. Those amber eyes that still haunted her dreams locked onto hers, and she watched recognition dawn on his face. But it wasn't the recognition she expected. You, Aldrich whispered, his voice rough from the breathing tube. You're my mate. I can feel the bond. It's you. I've been searching for so long. Kira's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? The bond. Aldrich tried to sit up, wincing in pain. I can feel it pulling me to you. You're my true mate. I've been looking for 5 years, visiting every pack, hoping to find you. And here you are. He didn't remember. Aldrich didn't remember rejecting her. The universe, Kira thought bitterly, had a truly cruel sense of humor. Before she could respond, before she could process this impossible revelation, her phone buzzed with a message that made her blood run cold. It was a video from her apartment security camera. 2 men in dark clothes were trying to break through her door, and she could hear Luna and Stella screaming. No, Kira whispered, already running for the exit. Not my babies. Behind her, she heard Aldrich calling out, confused and concerned. But Kira didn't have time to explain. Someone was attacking her daughters, and she would burn down the world before she let anyone hurt her children. The mother wolf that had been sleeping for 5 years finally woke you. For hours later, Kira stood outside the recovery room where Aldrich lay sleeping. She had saved his life, removed the silver-laced blades from his body, flushed as much of the poison from his system as she could. He would live. She should walk away. She should assign him to another doctor and never see him again. She owed him nothing. He had rejected her, humiliated her, destroyed her in front of her entire pack. But her traitorous wolf, silent for so long, stirred inside her. "Mate," she whispered. "Hurt. Need to help." "Shut up," Kira whispered back. "He's not our mate anymore." He made sure of that. She was about to leave when Aldrich's eyes opened. Those amber eyes that still haunted her dreams locked onto hers, and she watched recognition dawn on his face. But it wasn't the recognition she expected. "You," Aldrich whispered, his voice rough from the breathing tube. "You're my mate. I can feel the bond. It's you. I've been searching for so long." Kira's blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" "The bond." Aldrich tried to sit up, wincing in pain. "I can feel it pulling me to you. You're my true mate. I've been looking for 5 years, visiting every pack, hoping to find you. And here you are." He didn't remember. Aldrich didn't remember rejecting her. The universe, Kira thought bitterly, had a truly cruel sense of humor. Before she could respond, before she could process this impossible revelation, her phone buzzed with a message that made her blood run cold. It was a video from her apartment security camera. 2 men in dark clothes were trying to break through her door, and she could hear Luna and Stella screaming. "No," Kira whispered, already running for the exit. "Not my babies." Behind her, she heard Aldrich calling out, confused and concerned. But Kira didn't have time to explain. Someone was attacking her daughters, and she would burn down the world before she let anyone hurt her children. The mother wolf that had been sleeping for 5 years finally woke you. The curse revealed. Kira's car screeched into her apartment complex parking lot 15 minutes after receiving the security alert. 15 minutes that felt like 15 hours. Her wolf was fully awake now, snarling and clawing to be released. She could hear her daughter's cries echoing in her mind through the maternal bond that connected them. She didn't bother with the elevator. Taking the stairs 3 at a time, she reached her floor to find her apartment door hanging off its hinges. Mrs. Chun lay unconscious in the hallway, bleeding from a head wound but alive. Kira's vision went red. The scene inside made her wolf roar with fury. 2 large men dressed in black tactical gear had Luna and Stella cornered in the living room. The girls were holding hands, their eyes glowing with that strange inner light Kira had warned them to hide. The furniture was floating in the air around them, a protective barrier created by Luna's telekinetic powers. Plants had grown from every crack in the walls and floor, Stella's defensive response creating a jungle of thorny vines. "Stay back!" Luna screamed at the intruders. "Don't touch my sister. Freaky little monsters." One of the men growled, pulling out a silver knife. The boss said to bring them in alive, but he didn't say they had to be in perfect condition. That was the last mistake he ever made. Kira shifted mid-leap. She hadn't fully shifted in years, had kept her wolf suppressed and small. But fury and maternal instinct unlocked something inside her. Her wolf was larger than she remembered, stronger, faster. She hit the first man with enough force to snap his neck instantly. The second man barely had time to turn before she was on him, her teeth finding his throat. "Mommy!" Stella cried out. Kira shifted back to human form, not caring that she was naked and covered in blood. She ran to her daughters, pulling them into her arms. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you?" "We're okay," Luna said, but she was shaking. "They said someone sent them. They said we were abominations that shouldn't exist." Kira's blood ran cold. Someone knew about her daughters. Someone knew what they could do. And someone wanted them badly enough to send trained killers to her home. A sound from the doorway made her spin around, ready to fight again. But it wasn't another attacker. It was Aldrich, leaning heavily against the doorframe, his hospital gown stained with blood from his reopened wounds. His amber eyes were wide with shock as he took in the scene. The dead men, the impossible display of power from the children, and Kira standing protectively in front of them. "What?" Aldrich's voice was barely a whisper. "What are they?" "They're my daughters," Kira said, her voice hard as steel. And if you've come to hurt them, you'll have to go through me first. Your daughters, Aldrich repeated, his eyes moving from the girls to Kira and back again. Even wounded and confused, he was smart enough to do the math. The girls looked to be about 4 years old. 5 years since he'd felt the mate bond snap into place with Kira. Our daughters. No, Kira said firmly. They're mine. You gave up any right to them when I what? Aldrich took a step forward, confusion evident on his face. When I rejected you, is that what you think happened? I don't think it happened. I was there. The entire Crescent Moon Pack witnessed you reject me as your mate because my bloodline wasn't good enough for a king. Aldrich's face went pale. That's impossible. I would never. He stopped, his hand going to his chest. The curse. Oh goddess, the curse. Before Kira could demand an explanation, sirens wailed in the distance. Human police responding to the neighbors' reports of violence. Kira made a split-second decision. We can't be here when they arrive, she said, quickly dressing in clothes she grabbed from her bedroom.
Luna, Stella, pacca bag.
Only essentials. We have 2 minutes. We're going with him? Luna asked, eyeing Aldrich with suspicion. We don't have a choice. Someone sent those men, and they'll send more. Kira looked at Aldrich. You came here somehow, despite being half-dead an hour ago. I assume you have a car. A car, a security team, and a safe house 20 minutes from here, Aldrich said. But we need to talk. There's so much you don't understand. Later. Move now, talk later. Kira finished dressing her daughters, grabbed essential documents and money she kept hidden for emergencies. She checked on Mrs. Chun, relieved to find the woman was waking up. Mrs. Chun, tell the police you don't remember anything. You never saw me or the girls. Can you do that? The elderly woman, who had always been kind to them, nodded weakly. Be safe, dear. They made it to Aldrich's vehicle, a black SUV with tinted windows, just as police cars turned into the complex. Aldrich's driver, a large Lycan named Marcus, gave his king a disapproving look. Your Majesty, you should be in a hospital bed, not. Marcus stopped when he saw the children. His eyes widened with recognition of what they were. Those are. Drive, Aldrich commanded. To the safe house, and call Sarah. Tell her it's an emergency. The drive was tense and silent. Luna and Stella huddled against Kira, their eyes never leaving Aldrich. The Lycan King stared at his daughters with an expression of wonder and grief. The safe house was a luxury penthouse in a secured building. Once inside, Aldrich immediately sent his guards to secure the perimeter. Then he turned to Kira, his amber eyes filled with an intensity that made her wolf stir despite her anger. I need you to understand something, Aldrich said. I have no memory of rejecting you. None. The first time I felt the mate bond was yesterday, right before I was attacked. I've spent the past 5 years searching every pack in my territory, looking for my mate, following vague dreams and instincts. But I never found you because. He stopped, his jaw clenching. Because someone made sure I wouldn't. What are you talking about?
Kira demanded.
A knock on the door interrupted them. A woman entered, tall and elegant, with silver hair despite her young face. Her eyes were violet, marking her as a witch. Sarah, Aldrich said. Thank you for coming so quickly. The witch's gaze swept over Kira and the girls, and her expression shifted to shock. Aldrich, these children. Their power signature is incredible. They're my daughters, Aldrich said. Apparently, and according to their mother, I rejected her 5 years ago, though I have no memory of it. Sarah's violet eyes narrowed. Show me your memories of that time. Aldrich knelt, allowing the witch to place her hands on his temples. Purple light flowed between them. After several minutes, Sarah pulled back, her face grim. There's a curse, she said. A powerful one, woven directly into your memories. Someone altered your perception of events 5 years ago. They made you believe something that never happened or. She paused. They made you do something you would never have done and then erased your memory of it. Kira felt her world tilt. You're saying he was cursed? That he didn't choose to reject me? I'm saying someone manipulated the Lycan King, which requires enormous power and skill. This wasn't random magic. This was deliberate, targeted, and planned. Sarah turned to Aldrich. Who had access to you 5 years ago? Who would benefit from you rejecting your true mate? Aldrich's face darkened as realization dawned. Marcus. Not my driver, my advisor, Marcus Blackwood. He was with me during that entire tour of the packs. He was the one who kept talking about bloodlines and the importance of choosing a strong queen. He wanted you to reject your mate so you'd remain unmated, Sarah finished. A king without a mate is vulnerable. Easier to control, easier to manipulate. And if you eventually died without an heir, the throne would go to the next in line, Aldrich growled. Marcus's family has always believed they have a claim to the crown. He's been positioning himself for years. Kira processed this information, her mind reeling. If Aldrich had been cursed, if he hadn't chosen to reject her, then everything she believed about that day was a lie. But that didn't erase the pain, didn't heal the wounds. Even if you were cursed, Kira said quietly, you still said those words. You still destroyed me in front of everyone. Curse or not, I lived with that pain for 5 years. I gave birth to your children alone, with no pack, no support, no mate. You don't get to waltz back into my life now and expect. I expect nothing, Aldrich interrupted, his voice raw. But I'm asking for a chance. A chance to know my daughters. A chance to break this curse. A chance to make things right. Things will never be right, Kira said. Too much has happened. Too much time has passed. Luna suddenly spoke up. The man with yellow eyes from my dream. He's the bad one, isn't he? The one who hurt Daddy and made him say mean things to you. Aldrich looked at his daughter, seeing her clearly for the first time. You have visions? Sometimes, Luna said. And Stella can feel emotions and make plants grow, and I can move things with my mind. We're different from other wolves. You're extraordinary, Aldrich said softly. You're royal Lycan heirs with gifts that haven't been seen in centuries. He stopped, looking at Kira with new understanding. Your bloodline. You said you were common, no special heritage. But children don't develop these abilities unless both parents carry ancient royal blood. The traitor's web. Sarah was already pulling out books and scanning through them with supernatural speed. He's right. These abilities, telekinesis, empathic manipulation, accelerated plant growth. These are the gifts of the firstborn, the original Lycan royal line that was thought to be extinct. That's impossible, Kira said. My parents were ordinary warriors. There was nothing special about them. Or that's what they wanted people to believe, Sarah countered. If a member of the firstborn bloodline wanted to hide, they would suppress their gifts, live quietly, avoid drawing attention. It's the only way they could have survived whatever wiped out the rest of their line. Aldrich's driver, the loyal Marcus, not the traitorous advisor, burst into the room. Your Majesty, we have a problem. Marcus Blackwood just declared you unfit to rule due to your injuries and mysterious disappearance. He's calling for an emergency council meeting to name a regent. Of course he is, Aldrich growled. He thinks I'm dying from the poison. He's making his move. It's worse, the driver continued. He's also put out a kill order on a woman named Kira Thorne and her 2 daughters. He's claiming they're dangerous criminals who attacked you. Kira's blood ran cold. He knows about us. He sent those men to my apartment. How does he know? Aldrich demanded. I only discovered them myself an hour ago. Sarah's face was grim. If Marcus is powerful enough to curse a Lycan King, he's powerful enough to have surveillance spells in place. He's probably been watching you for years, waiting for you to find your mate. And when you finally did, he acted immediately. The illness, Kira said suddenly. The mysterious disease spreading through the human city. I detected supernatural components. Could Marcus be behind that too?